Hey everyone, and welcome back. So today we are diving deep into a viral fashion trend that's all over the place. Butt lifting shorts. You've seen them, right? They promise this perfect silhouette, but are they actually a game changer or just, more shapewear hype? Well, we're going to break down the review, get a real reality check, and see what the results really are.
All right, let's just start with something I think we've all been through. Picture this. You're in a dressing room. You found these jeans that you think are the one, but then you pull them on and something's just off. That frustration is so real, right? And honestly, that's exactly why the whole world of shapewear even exists, to try and fix that annoying gap between the clothes we want to wear and how they actually fit us.
And that exact feeling of frustration is what brings us to the product we're talking about today. I mean, in this huge world of shapewear, these butt-lifting shorts have kind of popped up as this potential hero, you know? They promise to lift and sculpt and solve all our denim problems. But what's really going on behind the hype? So, at their core, these things are basically a little piece of engineering for your body. They're designed with all these special panels and seams and compression fabrics, and it's all working together for one single mission: to give your natural shape a little bit of a boost and create a smoother, more contoured line under your clothes.
You know, the review we're looking at here had the perfect way to describe it, and it just makes so much sense. Think of it like a bra for your butt. That's it. The whole point isn't to totally change your shape, it's just to give you some support and a little bit of a lift. It's a simple idea, right? But the real question is, does it actually do the job?
And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, the promise sounds amazing, but the real test, that happens the second you try to put your actual clothes on over them. So let's get into the reality check. How did these shorts really perform under different kinds of jeans? Okay, so this is where things get really interesting. The results were, well, they weren't just a simple yes or no. Under some stretchy, forgiving mom jeans, they were awesome. A great silhouette, looked fantastic. Straight leg jeans, also pretty good, and nice win there. But, and this is so important, under tight, skinny pants, they could actually make things look worse by creating weird new lines and bumps. So it turns out the pants you pick are just as important as the shapewear itself. Who knew? And this really gets to the heart of what I'd call the shapewear paradox. On the one hand, the goal is this perfect, smooth, lifted look. But the risk? If that fit isn't absolutely perfect, the fabric can bunch up or dig in, and suddenly you've got these new dips and bulges that weren't even there to begin with. You end up solving one problem just to create a whole new one. And this really brings us to the most crucial point of all. This is not a one-size-fits-all solution. Not even close. The reviewer found that while the shorts gave her smaller butt a really nice lift, they were super uncomfortable and tight on her thicker thighs, causing what she called spillage. And that just highlights it perfectly. Your own body shape, where you carry weight, where you have muscle, is probably the biggest factor in whether something like this is going to work for you. But look, the review didn't just point out all the problems and leave it at that. Nope, it actually offered some really great practical solutions. So if you're still kind of curious and thinking about giving these a try, here is your user guide for how to actually make them work. Okay, tip number 1, and listen, if you only remember one thing from this whole explainer, make it this: size up. Seriously, the single most important piece of advice from the reviewer is to buy one size larger than you think you need. Trust me on this, it's the absolute key to avoiding that awful digging in feeling and the muffin top effect. All right, so you followed the advice, you sized up, but there's still one little spot that's just a bit too tight. Now what? Well, this is where the reviewer got really creative and came up with a brilliant DIY hack, something most of us would probably never think to do. Yup, you heard that right. She literally took a pair of scissors to her brand new shapewear. It was a simple 3-step process. First, she figured out exactly where the fabric was digging into her thighs. Then, she just carefully snipped the edges of the shorts right there to release the tension. Finally, she tried them on again to check the fit. It's a pretty bold move, for sure, but it apparently made the shorts way more comfortable and totally wearable. So after all the testing, the sizing up, and even a little bit of scissor-based tailoring, what's the final verdict? Are these butt-lifting shorts worth it? Well, here's how it all breaks down. On the plus side, yeah, they can give you a noticeable lift and definitely enhance your silhouette. And that can be a great confidence boost, especially if you've got the right outfit on. But the cons are just as real. They are definitely not for every body type, particularly if you have thicker thighs. You have to be really careful about what clothes you pair them with to avoid lines showing through, and you might have to size up or even do some DIY surgery on them to get them to be comfortable. So in short, cool concept, but definitely not a magic wand. And that kind of leaves us with this one last big question to think about. This whole experiment suggests that maybe the hunt for that perfect silhouette isn't really about finding one magical product you can buy off the shelf. Maybe the real secret is learning how to customize and tweak things to make them work perfectly for your unique body. It's a really interesting thought, isn't it? Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.